never taken by surprise. They know exactly what to do when anything unexpected happens. Lord Baden Powell.
Yes, indeed, Imaya. And this is particularly true as we welcome you to the first ever virtual jamboree organized by the Sri Lanka Scout Association. Not only that, it is also the largest ever event organized by the association with the participation of over 20,000 scouts from almost 100 countries, connecting through the power of the internet, spanning every region, continent and time zone.
Organized under the theme Culture in One Scout World, the Global Cultural Jamboree brings to you a jamboree experience like never before. An unimagined virtual gathering of scouts, global cultures and so much more.
It is our pleasure to warmly welcome you to the opening ceremony of the Global Cultural Jamboree.
In order to ceremoniously begin our proceedings, at today's opening ceremony, we will have the lighting of the traditional oil lamp. The lighting of the oil lamp is a practice so commonly associated with the Asian tradition of Sri Lanka and its culture.
We hereby cordially invite the following dignitaries to please join us in this ancient tradition of lighting the oil lamp, signifying the beginning of the Global Cultural Jamboree. Mr. Meril Gunathilaka, President of the Sri Lanka Scout Council. Mr. Kapila Kalyana Pereira, Chairman of the Committee of the Council. Major General Milinda Piris, Chief Commissioner of the Sri Lanka Scout Association and Jamboree Chief. Mr. Janaprit Fernando, Deputy Chief Commissioner of the Sri Lanka Scout Association, Member of the World Scout Committee and Jamboree Advisor. Dr. Rajiva Piris, International Commissioner of the Sri Lanka Scout Association and Assistant Jamboree Chief. Mr. Nanda Fernando, National Training Commissioner of the Sri Lanka Scout Association. Mr. Sarath Mathirarachi, National Program Commissioner of the Sri Lanka Scout Association. Mr. Prabhat Kularatna, Assistant Chief Commissioner of the Sri Lanka Scout Association and Chairman of the Jamboree Steering Committee. Dr. Asank Eriava, Headquarters Commissioner and Jamboree Secretary.
Lighting of this traditional oil lamp will not only be done by distinguished invitees, but fellow participants from around the world have participated in this tradition by lighting the lamp in their different geographical locations with the power of the internet. Today, we showcase all of them. Here is a view of all those participating countries who have joined with us in the tradition and send their best wishes for the Global Cultural Jamboree.
Join us in this ancient tradition of lighting the oil lamp, signifying the beginning of the Global Cultural Jamboree. For this purpose, it is our pleasure to invite His Excellency Gotabaya Rajapaksa to hoist the national flag.
Mr. Craig Turpie to hoist the World Organization of the Scout Movement flag.
Major General Milinda Piris to hoist the Sri Lanka Scout flag.
Sri Lanka Mata, Upper Sri Lanka, Namo, 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 Namo Mata. Sundara Siri Varini, Surani Ati Sobhamaya Lanka. Vanya Valaya Nekamal Palaguru Piri Jaya Bhumi Ramya. අප ශ්‍රී ලංකා නමෝ 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 නමෝ
Thank you, sirs. We will now spend a moment in silence observing our own faiths, beliefs, and religions.
Thank you. Now, the Global Cultural Jamboree has proven to be one of the most anticipated events in the Scouting calendar over the recent past. Exceeding the initial expectations of the organizers, the Jamboree boasts a mammoth participation of over 20,000 Scouts from around the world, uniting through modern technology despite the pandemic situation, to celebrate Scouting, culture, youth empowerment never seen before.
Fellow Scouts, ladies and gentlemen, to welcome you today to the Global Cultural Jamboree, here is a Sri Lankan traditional dance item. We welcome you to sit back and enjoy this showcase of our Sri Lankan cultural identity. spectacular performance we just witnessed.
Indeed. The Global Cultural Jamboree has been recognized to be the Sri Lanka Scout Association's most successful event ever organized. To welcome you this evening to the Jamboree and to this ceremony, we humbly invite the Jamboree Chief of the Global Cultural Jamboree, the Chief Commissioner of the Sri Lanka Scout Association, Major General Milinda Piris.
Chief Guest, His Excellency Gotabaya Rajapaksa, President of Democratic Socialist Republic of Sri Lanka. Guest of Honor, Mr. Craig Turpie, Chairperson of the World Scout Committee. Key leaders including Chief Commissioners, Chief Executives and International Commissioners from all 6 regions of the Global Cultural Jamboree. President of the Sri Lanka Scout Council, Engineer Meril Gunatilaka. Chairman Committee of the Council, Mr. Kapila Kalyana Pereira and committee members. Deputy Chief Commissioner and Jamboree Advisor, Mr. Janaprit Fernando, and all senior commissioners, headquarter commissioners, district commissioners, youth participants who are taking part in the event representing more than 100 countries, commissioners and adult leaders from all National Scout organizations. Ayubowan. Good evening from Sri Lanka. Fellow Scouts, Lord Baden-Powell has once said, I quote, a Sinhalese proverb says, he who is happy is rich, but it does not follow that he who is rich is happy. The really rich man is the man who has fewest wants, unquote. Fellow Scouts, at this historic moment of launching first ever virtual jamboree organized by the Sri Lanka Scout Association, I am proud to begin by quoting Lord Baden-Powell, who himself quoted a proverb in the majority language of Sri Lankans. The quote implies 2 things. The first, the humility of Lord Baden-Powell in respecting important values of different cultures in the world. Second, he has enriched the great Scout movement he has introduced with values such as simplicity from another culture. Thus, the relevance of this global jamboree on culturally one Scout world that offers a platform for World Scouts to share their cultural values with fellow Scouts from around the world. So, on behalf of Sri Lanka Scout Association, I have the humble honor to warmly welcome you all to this historic event. First of all, I welcome with greatest respect and honor our Chief Guest and the Chief Scout of Sri Lanka, His Excellency Gotabaya Rajapaksa, the President of the Democratic Socialist Republic of Sri Lanka, who has given the highest patronage for this event we organize amidst a most challenging situation. Next, I warmly welcome the Chairman, World Scout Committee and Asia Pacific Regional Scout Committee, Regional Directors of the World Organization of Scout Movement, Chief Commissioners, International Commissioners, and key leaders from all around the world, including those of Sri Lanka. Most importantly, I warmly welcome the beneficiaries of this 3-day jamboree, over 20,000 Scouts and Rover Scouts diligently taking part in it. Fellow Scouts, I am sure this event will be a memorable one that will remain in our hearts for years to come. I request all registered participants to make the maximum out of this jamboree and to enjoy the event fully. Finally, while expressing my gratitude to all those behind the organization of this great event, I wish that this event would be a tribute to the father of Scouting, Lord Baden-Powell, and to those who dedicated themselves to preserve the great movement of Scouting for prosperity. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Being one of the largest cultural celebrations in the history of Scouting, we kindly invite you to join us as we view another cultural item related to the cultural heritage of us Sri Lankans.
දුනාන බැතියනි සිරසේ දරා ෘතියනි උදලබන රිසියනි වටින් මෙරඟට 12 දෙවියනි
another mesmerizing performance showcasing the culture of Sri Lanka.
To give us a brief introduction to the Global Cultural Jamboree and how this novel concept came to be, we invite the Jamboree advisor to address you.
Mr. Janaprit Fernando, the Deputy Chief Commissioner of the Sri Lanka Scout Association and member of the World Scout Committee, has been the driving force behind this unique and novel concept and has played an instrumental role in guiding the organization of the Jamboree. Sir, we humbly invite you to address our participants this evening.
Ayubowan, brother and sister scouts from Sri Lanka and around the world. Wow, what an exciting moment for all of us. Over 20,000 scouts and families around the world connecting with Sri Lanka to join the first ever Global Cultural Jamboree, held virtually, organized and hosted by the Sri Lanka Scout Association. I'm indeed honored to address you all from Colombo and let you know the exciting events planned during this Jamboree. Our founder, Lord Baden-Powell said, I quote, "A week of camp life is equivalent to 6 months of learning in the classroom." My dear friends, the organizing team, keeping our founder's advice in mind, has planned a fun-filled, educative, interactive and interesting program during the Jamboree under the theme Culturally One Scout World. Culturally One Scout World. Most of us, due to the pandemic, are unable to attend physical scouting. However, we as leaders of this world's largest youth movement, with a membership of 54 million scouts in 172 national scout organizations of the World Organization of the Scout Movement, have done our best to keep our activities on virtual platforms and keep scouting alive. Brothers and sisters, this Jamboree will not only give you an opportunity to take part in cultural activities and witness different cultures, history of other countries, it will also give you a hands-on experience how to prepare different types of food, wear different clothes of nationalities. We will also have the opportunity of watching the talents of scouts from around the world and participate in the campfires on all 3 days of the Jamboree. In order for us to be a part of the United Nations agenda of achieving a better and more sustainable future for all the Sri Lanka Scouts, together with the United Nations volunteers, have organized a series of webinars with other UN and other agencies on the Sustainable Development Goals, which are directly linked to the Better World Framework International Badges of the Scouts. For the first time in Scouting, 12 world-renowned poets will come together and have an interactive session with the participants in 8 different languages. And top leaders in the Scout world and in society will be joined by the Scouts in live talk shows. The team has ensured that there will be games, quizzes and competitions which you could participate right throughout the 24 hours of the day, and the opportunity to chat and make new friends from around the globe. In all this, the Global Cultural Jamboree will be an experience which you have never had before, and I urge each and every one of you to participate in all activities. Please don't make language a barrier, because you could always understand with actions and body language as to what goes on. Brother and sister Scout, we as the organizers and the hosts have done our best to give you one of the best Jamborees programs ever, and we are sure that your active participation in the activities of this Jamboree will ensure that you get the experience, the knowledge, pleasure and the comradeship of a Jamboree. And our task is to ensure that the Global Cultural Jamboree in Sri Lanka will be a life-changing and a memorable experience to all the Jamborees. Stay safe and enjoy the Global Cultural Jamboree 2021. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We once again welcome you to renew the Scout promise this evening.
Let us renew the Scout promise. On my honor, I promise to do my best, to do my duty, to my religion and country, to help other people at all times, and to obey the Scout law.
Thank you, sir.
An event of this magnitude would not have been possible without the support of multiple sponsors and partners who have generously come forward to support the Sri Lanka Scout Association.
Indeed, Imaya. Let us now take a moment to recognize these institutions without whose support none of this would have been possible.
This is one way of showing convenience, and My SLT is just another name for convenience. Services here, there, and everywhere. Now brought under My SLT. Access all of SLT Mobitel services through one app. SLT Mobitel, the connection.
They want me to be chill. They want me to be wild. They want me to be healthy. They want me all the time. They want that crunch.
The crunch that makes you crack. Come bites.
They need some Come bites.
A milk coffee for me?
Money has to be sent to Anna in the morning and the electricity bill has to be paid.
What is today's schedule?
Diafa Uyana at 2 p.m. Film shooting at 3 p.m.
How's today's weather?
Sunny day, no rain, temperature 27 degrees.
Switch off TV, lights off.
You know the account that fits my busy lifestyle? BOC 18 Plus Smart Gen, the smart choice for today's youth.
කඩිසරවී ඉගෙන ගන්න හොඳම මොහොත දැන් කම්මැලිකම් නෑ හරියන්නේ හැමතැනකම විෂ බීජ මොකටද බය වෙන්නේ ඩෙටෝල් ළමයි ලොකු වෙනකොට විෂ බීජ නිසා ලෙඩ රෝග ඇති වෙන්න පුළුවන්
ඩෙටෝල් වලට ලෙඩ රෝග ඇති කරන විෂ බීජ 99.9%ක්ම විනාශ කරන්න පුළුවන්
අම්මගේ විශ්වාසය ඩෙටෝල් ආරක්ෂාව.
This is one way of showing convenience, and My SLT is just another name for convenience. Services here, there, and everywhere. Now brought under My SLT. Access all of SLT Mobitel services through one app. SLT Mobitel, the connection.
Our guest of honor this evening is the chairman of the World Scout Committee, Mr. Craig Turpie. Mr. Turpie, who is residing in the United Kingdom, has been serving the World Organization of the Scout Movement in the capacity of chairman of the World Scout Committee since 2017.
It is indeed our pleasure to have him in our presence at this historic event. Scouts, ladies and gentlemen, please join us in welcoming the chairman of the World Scout Committee to address the Global Cultural Jamboree, connecting with us all the way from the United Kingdom.
Chief guest, His Excellency Gotabaya Rajapaksa, President of Sri Lanka, Chief Commissioner and Deputy Chief Commissioner of the Sri Lanka Scout Association, distinguished guests, dear friends, fellow Scouts. On the occasion of this opening ceremony of this Global Cultural Jamboree, I send to you all warm greetings from the entire World Scout Committee and from millions of Scouts from all around the world. This Global Cultural Jamboree is the culmination of months of planning by the Sri Lanka Scout Association, and I would like to congratulate and thank the many adult volunteers who have played their part in creating this unique experience for so many Scouts, both at home in Sri Lanka, but also to the thousands of Scouts from around the world who are looking forward to participate. The programme for this virtual Global Cultural Jamboree really is exciting, with great opportunities for patrols of Scouts from across Sri Lanka and around the world to come together virtually and participate and celebrate their cultures, their food, their costumes, archaeology, religious and national festivals, as well as their rich histories. The opportunities to participate in some great talk shows, Scouts for SDGs webinars, online campfires and cultural shows will also be of great interest to Scouts everywhere. Events like this are all about the Scouts themselves, you, the next generation of leaders, who through programmes and events of this type are equipping themselves with the knowledge and skills to play their part as active global citizens in tackling the big issues facing both people and planet. My encouragement to all Scouts participating is to make the very best of this opportunity, to learn something new about other people and their cultures, and by doing so, you may learn something new about yourself too. Jamborees are great spaces where young people and adults from different cultures, different backgrounds, different languages and different ages can come together, speaking the common language of Scouting. They can demonstrate through their enthusiastic participation that they value this incredible diversity, that they can see how it contributes to creating a better world. Knowing more about ourselves, knowing more about each other, and appreciating and celebrating our cultural diversity is one of the important steps in leading change and making a difference. So stay safe online during the event and have a truly wonderful Global Cultural Jamboree.
Thank you, Mr. Turpie.
It is indeed our greatest privilege to also have in our attendance His Excellency Gotabaya Rajapaksa, President of the Democratic Socialist Republic of Sri Lanka, and the Chief Scout of the Sri Lanka Scout Association.
Sir, we hereby humbly invite you to address the participants of the Global Cultural Jamboree.
Chairman of the World Scout Committee, Chairman of the Asia Pacific Regional Scout Committee, Regional Directors of the World Organization of the Scout Movement, Chief Commissioners, International Commissioners, and key leaders from around the world, Chief Commissioner of the Sri Lanka Scout Association, Jamboree organizing teams, Scouts from around the world. It gives me great pleasure to address you at the opening ceremony of this virtual Global Cultural Jamboree organized by the Sri Lanka Scout Association. I am happy to learn that this event is one of the first of its kind. I commend the Sri Lanka Scout Association for taking this initiative in light of a global pandemic that has forced us to change the way we live. In context, this initiative symbolizes the great value of the simple but deeply profound motto of the Scout movement, be prepared. Since its establishment more than 100 years ago, the World Scout movement has helped millions of young people develop vital skills such as leadership, teamwork, resourcefulness, and the ability to overcome various challenges. Such skills become more and more important as the world we live in becomes more and more complex. The challenges that the future will bring may be more difficult to overcome than those of the past. In addition to today's problems such as conflicts and the pandemic, issues such as the loss of biodiversity, environmental degradation, food security, access to water, and climate change are challenges that will need to be overcome in the future. The World Organization of the Scout Movement and similar entities must equip young people with the skills that they need to face these future challenges with confidence. They must encourage the youth to think globally and prepare them to take global action on these issues. In this context, the coming together of 15,000 scouts from over 100 countries through this Global Cultural Jamboree is praiseworthy indeed. By showcasing many and diverse global cultures reflected in various national languages, dresses, food, art forms, and histories. It will use technology to bridge vast geographic and cultural distances. It will enable participants to learn more about the issues and opportunities that exist in various regions of the world. It could also help lay the foundations of future global action regarding them. I hope that during the course of these 3 days, all participants will make full use of this forum provides to learn about the different cultures and traditions that comprise and shape our world, as well as about and from each other. I hope that the bridges they build and the connections they make will stand them in good stead for the future as truly global citizens. As the Chief Scout of Sri Lanka, I therefore take great pleasure and pride in hereby declaring open this virtual Global Cultural Jamboree, Culturally One Scout World. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Excellency.
We kindly invite you now to join us as we officially declare open the Global Cultural Jamboree. This declaration will be marked by the breaking of the flag of the Global Cultural Jamboree by the Chief Scout of the Sri Lanka Scout Association, His Excellency President Gotabaya Rajapaksa. Fellow Scouts, ladies and gentlemen, there you have it, the official declaration of the opening of the Global Cultural Jamboree, a truly historic milestone in the history of Sri Lankan and world scouting.
Now all our participants are familiar with the Jamboree mascot, Peaky. Peaky, who will be participating alongside our scouts throughout the 3 days of the Jamboree, has a special message to all participants.
In order to listen to what Peaky has to say to us, we have brought Peaky to life through an augmented reality experience. Simply open up the Glidar app on your mobile phone and scan Peaky to see what is in store for you.
Thank you, Peaky. Now if you missed Peaky this time, you can still go on to the Jamboree campsite and see what he has to say to you.
As we near the end of the opening ceremony, we have a huge surprise awaiting all of you. But before that, it is time for the vote of thanks to be delivered by the chairman of the Jamboree Steering Committee.
We humbly invite Mr. Prabhat Kularatne, Assistant Chief Commissioner in charge of Media, Public Relations and the Better World Framework to deliver the vote of thanks.
Dear brother and sister Scout, we are gathered here during COVID pandemic. Technology had made us come together on virtual platform today. Today we are here with more than 20,000 Scouts. As a result, large number of registration. A large number has gathered around YouTube Live, Facebook Live and Zoom as well. We are here to share our cultures under the theme of Culturally One Scout World. On behalf of organizing committee, I take this opportunity to thank His Excellency Gotabaya Rajapaksa, President of Sri Lanka and Chief Scout of Sri Lanka for gracing this occasion as a chief guest. Honorable Mahinda Rajapaksa, Prime Minister and Vice President of Sri Lanka Scout Association for gracing international briefing as a chief guest. Chairman Mr. Great Turpie and members of World Scout Committee for their support. Secretary General Mr. Ahmad Al-Handawi, Regional Directors and all staff of World Scout Bureau. Chief Commissioners, International Commissioners, other commissioners, head of contingents, overseas participants and Those who have sent cultural item, big thank you, all of you. Also, I would like to recognize and say thanks to all our sponsors and partners who helped to make this Jamboree a success. Jamboree Chief and Chief Commissioner of Sri Lanka Scout, Major General Milinda Piris, for his leadership and guidance. Thank you, sir. Jamboree Advisor and Deputy Chief Commissioner and World Scout Committee member, Mr. Janafit Fernando, for his brainchild idea of a Global Cultural Jamboree. All senior commissioners, national and district commissioners, leaders, brothers and sisters scouts, thank you very much. All participants and viewers and members of organizing committee for their hard work. Especially we have youth members. Thank you all of you in this opening ceremony. Today we have started. Today, tomorrow and day after tomorrow we are with you. Lot of activities, participate and enjoy. A lot of overseas facilitators are ready to help. The organizing committee is ready to give you a historical experience. Let's continue this Jamboree. Thank you. Stuti Nandri.
Indeed, a surprise that each and every one of our fellow scouts are going to enjoy. But before that, it is time for us to say our goodbyes for now, as that brings us to the end of the opening ceremony of the historic Global Cultural Jamboree organized by the Sri Lanka Scout Association. This weekend is going to be one-of-a-kind Jamboree experience for you, and we are sure that you will have a fun experience like never before. A celebration of scouting, culture and youth at a scale never imagined before.
Wishing you an enjoyable Jamboree and happy scouting. Fellow scouts, ladies and gentlemen, we conclude this opening ceremony with a special performance by two former scouts who began their musical career long years ago as young scouts and now have built a reputation worldwide and can be credited for transforming the Sri Lankan music industry. Currently empowering aspiring music talent in Sri Lanka as coaches on The Voice Sri Lanka, theirs is a household name when it comes to Sri Lankan music.
It is our utmost pleasure to leave with you the world-renowned musical duo Bharti and Santosh, here to entertain us at the Global Cultural Jamboree.
Scouts, ladies and gentlemen, presenting Bharti and Santosh.
Hi to all the scouts from Sri Lanka and around the world.
Hi everyone. Good to see all the scouts everywhere in the world in Sri Lanka. So we are here at the Global
Cultural Jamboree.
So nice to be here.
And we are very closely associated with the Sri Lanka Scout Association because we were scouts ourselves. And for the very first time, we were not Bharti and Santosh back then as a duo. We were just two scouts, and we first met at a scout jamboree, at a scout camporee rather, which was organized by the Sri Lanka Scout Association back in 1992. Yes,
1992.
Yeah, 1992.
Yeah, so both of us have been involved in scouting, and scouting has been very, very dear to us. We have represented school, the country in scouting, and I think music is the first thing we learned in scouting. So therefore, we're going to give you some music today.
Here we go.
සූවරේ ආදරයක් දැනුණා ඔබ මා අතරේ කඳුලක් නොදී උදේ හවා ඔබවත් කළේ ඔබමයි මෙමා හදපතුලේ ඇරයුම් මා වෙත එව්වා දෙන්න නොහැගේ ඇයි කළේ ආදරේ නෑ කිසිවක් නොහැගේ මින් මතුදාමා ඔබගේ සසරේ ඔබ පමණයි මා සොඳුරේ නිමක් නොවේ හැඟුමන් පිරේ අපේ ආදරේ වරින් වරේ දිවි ඇති තෙක් නුඹමයි මාහද ගැඹුරේ දහසක් දෙනා නුඹගේ දිහා බැලුවත් සදා මගේමයි ඔයා අද නුඹගේ දිනුවන් මාහට කීවා ඔබ පමණයි මා සොඳුරේ
All right, everybody, put your hands together and join in.
Everybody, put your hands together.
නැතු ඔබ මා කැටුනා ඒ ගන්තීරේ ඔබ මට ඉඟි කෙරුවා හැබහින්දෝ නොදැනේ
නැතු ඔබ මා බැඳුනා ඒ ගන්තීරේ ඔබ මට ඉඟි කෙරුවා හැබහින්දෝ නොදැනේ
සීනෙන් පැවදමින් නැතු කැල්මේ බැල්මෙන් තවමත් මහද කැලඹේ
We want everybody who knows the song from Sri Lanka to join in, and everybody else to put your hands together.
දෙනුවන් සිපගත්තා පිණිපොද වැස්සේ අප හදවත් බැඳිලා මන්දාරම් සෙවනේ
දෙනුවන් සිපගත්තා පිණිපොද වැස්සේ අප හදවත් බැඳිලා මන්දාරම් සෙවනේ සීනෙන් පැවදමින් නැතු කැල්මේ බැල්මෙන් තවමත් මහද කැලඹේ සරාගී ඇසිල්ලේ දෙමින්වත් දීලා ඇගේ තුරුල් වී සමීපේ කොපුල් තෙත් දීලා රාසේ සරාගී ඇසිල්ලේ දෙමින්වත් දීලා ඇගේ තුරුල් වී සමීපේ
Now everybody join in. This is a very easy song to sing from around the world.
This song is called Na Na Ne Na. Please sing with us.
Na na ne na na ne na 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 ne na na ne na 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 tam de na tam de na 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 tam de na na Rankura
ගුවන් මලසේමා සුපිපුුණු ඔබේ අතබෝමා දැක ගමන් සිත සැලෙනා ප්‍රේමිනුඹේ අත ඕනා දැක ගමන් සිත සැලෙනා ප්‍රේමිනුඹේ අත ඕනා මල්මසුරන් ඇසෙනා ගම්මනේ මාමන පඳිනා නානානේ නානානේ නානා නානානේ නානානේ නානා නාතම්දේ නාතම්දේ නානා නාතම්දේ නාතම්දේ නානා ಶೃಂಗಾರ ಉತ್ತುರನ ಬೋಮ ನೆರಿಯ ಅಂಗಿನ್ನೆಂಗ ಬೆನ್ನ ಪರಸಿನ ವೆಂತೇನ ನಿಲ್ಮಿನಿ ಕೆಲ್ಲು ಮನ್ಸೇನ ಪರಸಿನ ವೆಂತೇನ ನಿಲ್ಮಿನಿ ಕೆಲ್ಲು ಮನ್ಸೇನ ඉරිමල් හිත හිරි වැටුණා කුළුදුල් සිත කිති කැවුණා නානානේ නානානේ නානා නානානේ නානානේ නානා නාතම්දේ නාතම්දේ නානා නාතම්දේ නාතම්දේ නානා නානානේ නානානේ නානා නානානේ නානානේ නානා නාතම්දේ නාතම්දේ නානා නාතම්දේ නාතම්දේ නානා
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
program was brought to you by
කඩිසරවි ඉගෙන ගන්න හොඳම මොහොත දැන් කම්මැලිකම් නෑ හරියන්නේ හැමතැනකම විෂ බීජ මොකටද බය වෙන්නේ ඩෙටෝල් ළමයි ලොකු වෙනකොට විෂ බීජ නිසා ලෙඩ රෝග ඇති වෙන්න පුළුවන්
ඩෙටෝල් වලට ලෙඩ රෝග ඇති කරන විස බීජ 99.9%ක්ම විනාශ කරන්න පුළුවන්
අම්මගේ විශ්වාසය ඩෙටෝල් ආරක්ෂාව
This is one way of showing convenience, and My SLT is just another name for convenience. Services here, there, and everywhere. Now brought under My SLT. Access all of SLT Mobitel services through one app. SLT Mobitel, the connection.
A milk coffee for me?
Money has to be sent to Anna in the morning and the electricity bill has to be paid.
What is today's schedule?
Dia for Uyana 2 p.m. film shooting at 3 p.m.
How's today's weather?
Sunny day, no rain, temperature 27 degrees.
Switch off TV, lights off. You know the account that fits my busy lifestyle? BOC 18 Plus Smart Gen, the smart choice for today's youth.
They want me to be chip. They want me to be black. They want me to be healthy. They want me all the time. They want that crunch.
The crunch that makes you crack. Come bites.
They need some Come bites.
කඩිසරවි ඉගෙන ගන්න හොඳම මොහොත දැන් කම්මැලිකම් නෑ හරියන්නේ හැමතැනකම විෂ බීජ මොකටද බය වෙන්නේ ඩෙටෝල් ළමයි ලොකු වෙනකොට විෂ බීජ නිසා ලෙඩ රෝග ඇති වෙන්න පුළුවන්
ඩෙටෝල් වලට ලෙඩ රෝග ඇති කරන විස බීජ 99.9%ක්ම විනාශ කරන්න පුළුවන්
අම්මගේ විශ්වාසය ඩෙටෝල් ආරක්ෂාව
This is one way of showing convenience, and My SLT is just another name for convenience. Services here, there, and everywhere. Now brought under My SLT. Access all of SLT Mobitel services through one app. SLT Mobitel, the connection.